All right, Neil. We're going to be talking about all this stuff today, and not sure. Not sure how I want to do this. Not sure what the plan is, but let's get into it. What I got.
It's like we've been gone for 6 months, and a bunch of stuff has changed behind the scenes, and
Well,
nobody knows how to do anything
people
anymore.
can see the background. It changed. I don't know what to tell them. It's
They
where
can
we're
see the
at.
background. They also saw the Discord thing get open, but
Yeah, and the
So
insider that was we're geniuses. I don't know what else to tell you, man.
yeah, that's what it is. We are geniuses. That's right. That's right. That's what it is.
We
That's
are. So
that's exactly how that goes. That's exactly the answer.
that's what everybody wants to hear anyway.
And maybe we deserve to get replaced by AI. I
Some
stand by
days.
what I said at the beginning.
Some days.
No, it was inevitable someday. I'm saying maybe we deserved it. Is all. Like maybe we own that.
All right. Well, I guess we should start the show. Here we go.
Presented by Grunt.
And we're back. Congratulations. This is where we are. I know. One of these
It's
days we need to
going
get one of those
down.
horns.
He's yelling timber.
Woo! Oh man. Much like the stock market, we are going up though, not down. No?
No, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's up, it's down.
Like a jackhammer.
It's
We're jackhammering all the way through this.
they call it a camel market. It's not a bear market, it's not a bull market, it's a camel market. It's this. It's do.
But we are talking about the market for all your fantasy players. Very important stuff. This is what everybody's coming to us already in the Discord. Congratulations if you made it. You've seen that it's open. Enjoy that. But
Open to the public now for the first time ever.
who would have thought? Certainly not I.
Certainly not me. Yeah,
It's very interesting to just see how this is going to work out. But
probably with swearing.
we're allowed to do that now.
Yep, sure are.
So the little slip ups. Sorry.
I'm gonna hold off on the string of profanity that I nearly let fly. We'll save it. We'll sprinkle it in. Get people used to it.
But in any case, with all that uncertainty, we're talking about fantasy players and just how everybody is all over the place, it seems like. Whether it is the public, whether it's us, whether it's Jim down the street, everybody has these different values. But the market is what matters. It's going to be setting the stage for all these different players, and hopefully we can help you find some value.
Right. So what the premise of this is if we're just looking at the economics of fantasy football. So just like in anything, there's the value of something that is, derived by quote unquote the experts, in this case, the fantasy experts, and the real stock market is Wall Street. Then there's the value that the public would ascribe to something, which applies in both scenarios. And then there's what reality is, which is usually somewhere in the middle. And using this, you can actually find you can find ways to add a lot of value to your team. So that's the whole premise behind this. So we're going to be looking at rankings versus ADPs. So where the experts are ranking players versus where the public is valuing players. And in this way, if you do this, it'll help you form your own opinions about what you think individual players should be valued at. And this will help you tremendously when you're drafting. And this can vary depending upon the marketplace that you're participating in. In this instance, ESPN and Sleeper are the two big dogs at this point. I know, I'm sorry, Yahoo people. They're throwing their hearing aids at their monitors right now. so many Walkers just got tipped over in frustration. Like, I get it, and I'm sorry, but like, it's true. The, the world has moved on. It's it's Sleeper and it's ESPN, and frankly, ESPN is losing market share to Sleeper at an alarming rate. So, it's very rapidly just going to be Sleeper.
Well, yeah, and
if
especially with the changes that just are they're implementing, forcing people to implement. Horrible idea.
yeah, yeah. So, it's we're rapidly gonna wind up in a place I would rather not be, where we're gonna have one of one actual marketplace, which is usually bad. But in this case, we've still got a couple. But it's interesting. So this is why it pays to not only know where individual players are ranked, and then what the public values them at, and then how they are being valued by the individual website that you're going to be drafting on. Because in this way, you can find some real big values, and you can also avoid things that are overvalued, which, just like in the real stock market, will end up costing you money in the long run. So I hope that kind of sets the premise for what we're going to attempt to do today. So, first one out of the chute, number one, is Ken Walker. So Ken Walker, uh, uh, his actual ADP is, give me one moment here. So Ken Walker is going at roughly 18 overall, uh, as his ADP. His ranking on Sleeper is 19, and his ranking on ESPN is 21, and in the ECR it is 27. So, uh, as is evidence of that, Ken Walker is being valued by the public almost a full round ahead of where his quote unquote expert ranking is. So the public, what that is saying is the public is all in on Ken Walker. And I will tell you, in the drafts I've already done this year, I have definitely seen that. He consistently goes in the early second round is where Ken Walker goes. So, Jason, how do you feel about that?
It makes me nervous. I literally, still, Fantasy Life app. I don't know why I keep getting on it, but people keep tagging me, and I keep have to answer questions. And so somebody was like, "Well, why are you so down on Kenneth Walker?"
Move to the important nonsense public Discord,
Yeah,
and then just ping Jason there so he can uninstall the Fantasy Life app. There, I saved you some time.
thanks. But it's just one of those things that I've tried to adjust his scoring, giving him some of his best seasons, some of the Kansas City Chiefs' best offensive seasons from a running back, and even that, the highest I can get him is RB13, which I don't, according to ADP and experts' consensus and everything else, like he's an RB9. I don't.
You will not roster.
It's not going to happen.
Positional. Don't go by positional.
Okay.
Positional's not the way to think about this.
At this cost, I don't know how anybody's buying it.
It's not. It's because the public doesn't see that way. The public, I can tell you what the narrative-based analysis is on Ken Walker. The public believes that he's going to get all the work, and there will be a tremendous. Basically, they're taking the workload from three guys last year: Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and I had his name and I'm blanking on it now. Who was their third guy? The rookie.
Prince. Not Prince.
What? No, not Prince.
That was a couple years ago now.
Yeah, that's not. That was you're going too far back. It doesn't matter. They're taking the workload from the three guys that they were that were running that three-headed committee with last year, and they're totaling that up and saying that's Ken Walker's job now.
Oh, Brashard Smith. Sorry.
Brashard Smith. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's not how you do that.
No.
That's just a word to the wise. That's not how you do that. There's no universe where Ken Walker gets that whole job. And my concern, frankly, is that if they did try to give him a workload like that we've seen what happens when his previous team has tried that, and it doesn't end well. And that also presupposes the idea that Emmerich Johnson is just not playing this year. And from what I've seen in the preseason, I just don't think that's correct.
Yeah.
So I am also out on the. I think I was in. It's funny. in May, if we would have had this conversation, I would have said I'm very interested in Ken Walker, and I am actually
Yeah.
very interested in Ken Walker
Also interested.
for dynasty,
Oh, okay.
for dynasty, but not for
At the,
redraft.
yeah, that cost
Not
is
at this
just too high.
price. It's too high. I'm not interested in 15 overall price point Ken Walker. If you can get him in the 20s, like his actual ranking on the ECR is in PPR, like around 27. By the way, I should have led with that. This is all based on full point PPR, 12 team. So keep that in mind. If you're playing at half point, adjust accordingly. But everything, all the facts and figures that I'm giving today are all based on full point PPR, 12 team leagues. So if that's the case, then I think Jason and I are in agreement on this one. We're gonna pass on Ken Walker for redraft this year. That's where I think it's unequivocal. If I could get him at like 27 to 30 overall,
Yeah.
you know, early
Third
third round
round.
pick,
Yeah, that sounds great.
like I'm
My
great with
second
that.
running back.
Yeah, well, or my first running
Running
back,
back.
but I'm loaded at wide receiver at that, or I've got two good ones. Like, sure, but not at this point. The other running backs in that range, I would rather have like Chase Brown, Taylor. Uh, I'd rather wait a full. You could almost wait. You could wait like almost a round and a half and still get Derrick Henry. There's just too many.
People with a lot
Like,
of more opportunities than what he will likely see.
oh, I think Ken Walker's going to have plenty of opportunity. I just think that probably doesn't end with the 1,300-yard, 15 touchdown season that people hope it does. I think it ends with
Golly, that's
him.
high.
I think it ends with him getting hurt, sadly. So, and I think the Chiefs might be smart enough to know that. So there's a non-zero chance they're going to kind of work in Emmerich Johnson a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a three-headed monster again like it was last year, but I don't think he can capture all of the workload. And as such, I'm backing away from Ken Walker, especially at that point, because you can get things like, well, not even just running backs, like uh, Drake London is in that range. Nico Collins is available. Uh, in addition to that, like it's there, Justin Jefferson. There's a lot of things that I would feel better about than reaching on Ken Walker by what my rankings say a full round. It's just not worth it. Let's move to the next player. I think we've made our point quite clear. So the next player is actually Nico Collins, and it's funny because Nico is a divisive player every year. It seems. How many years we've been doing this together? 8.
Forever.
Like, yeah, for as long as I can remember. So Nico is always a divisive figure. We seem to talk about Nico a lot, and it's funny because Jason, pop quiz: how old is Nico Collins?
Uh, 28.
27.
Oh,
It feels like he's been in the league though for my whole
I know.
life.
Like it feels like he should be
It
30.
feels like he's been in the league for he should be 35.
Okay.
Like he's literally been in the league for like 4 years, and it feels like he's been there. He's always been here. He's always been here. So Nico Collins is an interesting one because by uh, ESPN and by sleeper metrics, he comes in at 26 and 25 respectively, and his ADP is 22. But if you go by his ECR expert consensus ranking on Fantasy Pros, he is at 13. These are overalls, not wide receiver 13. He's overall 13. And what I would say to you is I don't have him quite at 13. I have him down more at like 18. But I think this is one where everybody is writing him off a little bit. And I thought I was going to be low. I thought I was baking in a normal amount of. So this one for me is this is the opposite. This is where I think everybody is being a little too conservative. And I would not have any. I've got a lot of questions about this. Is Nico worth a second? And to me, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
By definition, he's easily worth a second. And there's just been some like trepidation and some clutching of pearls and a lot of like uncertainty around it. And I'm here to tell you, like, I'm not worried about it whatsoever. So, Jason, what are your thoughts on Nico?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's one of those things that I guess the other thing we need to bring up as well is just how expensive these things are just going to end up being because of the fact that everything is. Well, when you're looking at these players this year, when it comes to whatever position, everybody is going to be finally catching up to the way we've been drafting for years. But unfortunately, it's pushing up all the players at such a high rate. So, still love Nico. I think this is, again, I think he's worth this, but it just is blowing my mind how. Oh, now I can't even think of who brought it up, but how many wide receivers and running backs are going so early, so quickly. It's just crazy to me.
People have started to finally catch up to what we've been saying for years, which is tight end doesn't matter ultimately and is replaceable. And quarterback, except for, again, tight end, there's like two that actually matter, Bowers and McBride. Quarterback, there's like three that actually move the needle in a real way. And it's Lamar and it's Allen and it's, I guess, May. And it's like, and even that is not. And so the days of the Konami code being pushed up and that's not happening anymore. We're not doing that anymore. That has been canceled. Canceled. We're not doing that anymore as an industry, as a society. It's not happening. So and I think people have finally caught up to hey, it only took 10 years of me saying it, that quarterback is all the same. It doesn't matter. So it's like it's a commodity. The difference between QB1 and QB12 frequently is not that extreme. Whereas the difference between RB1 and RB24, because you got to start two every week, is a world of difference. It is a world of difference in there. And unfortunately, Jason, to your point, yeah, I think people have finally started catching up to that. And so this year, we looked at the way it works is the RB cliff is at around 40. So that's it. Once you get past RB 40, there's nothing left for you. It's all pretty much nasty. Wide receiver, honestly, is about 45. Once you get past like Jordan Addison and a few names past that on the list at about like the 45 neighborhood, that's kind of it. And so because of that, as a function of how this is working this year in terms of rankings and ADPs, both, it is pushing up those assets in the market. So this year, what I've been able to do in my drafts is you can actually get some really extreme values at quarterback. For example, I drafted Brock Purdy in one of my leagues, Jason,
For free.
in the 12th round.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, people just don't care. And I'm like, that's a top 100 player in fantasy, literally. Like, he's like 90 something in my rankings.
Yeah.
So,
hasn't been anything less than a QB1 since when he's active.
yeah. So, like, I was able to get my quarterbacks in that league are Herbert and Purdy because no one wanted them. And they're just sitting there. And I was like, okay. So, works for me. Like, so you can get really screaming deals on quarterback this year. And you can also get some really good deals on the lower end of tight end. You're not getting deals on the top end of tight end. That's not happening. But you will get deals later on as the draft goes on. So it's something to keep in mind this year. And that's what I'm going to be what I'm going to be preaching to all of the people in the public Discord, but also in those who have signed up to be members, the insiders. We go into that with them in detail around, like, we've had a lot of questions, for example, around is Brock Bowers worth a second? And I would say, like, on the face of it, yeah, I have him ranked that way. But I will tell you right now, in actual draft situations,
Not happening.
I will take Nico over Bowers every time. Every single time.
Yeah, more often than not, anybody else in round 2, you're probably taking over Bowers just based on what their output's going to be.
Yeah, I just think it's crazy that, to finish my thought on Nico, and we'll move on.
Okay, sorry.
I just think it's crazy that people are like, oh, I'm not willing to give up more than a third. And I'm like, have you seen how the prices work? Because I'll give you, I'd take him with the first pick of the second. That's where I'd start evaluating Nico. And so to see people loudly being like, "Well, I don't know if he's worth a second. He might have to be a third." It's like, okay, bro. Like, you have fun with that. Like because I know where the cliff is, and so the cliff's gonna come, and I don't want to be sitting there trying to figure out how to like. Oh, is Tyler Algier? How many games is he gonna play this year? Yeah, I'm not trying to figure that out, man. That's a fool's errand. It's not productive. So let's move to the next name on the list.
Finally,
So
we,
I
we get
know
we get to a rookie.
it's one of the few rookies that we're gonna actually talk about. Uh, so and it's because it's kind of an interesting one. So it's Jeremiah Love, dynasty darling, Jeremiah Love. Uh, he is currently going by ADP at 30 overall, and he it's an interesting one. So this is where the public is saying, yeah, about 30. But on ESPN, he goes as high as 22 overall, and on Sleeper, he goes at 26. And I can tell you, I've done drafts on both platforms already this year, and that is very much how that is working. That is what that is how he is loaded in, and so it's interesting to see that the public is taking a small hedge, not even a full round hedge. But what's really interesting about that is if you just go by rankings in PPR, he's ranked at like 40 overall.
Yeah.
So the public, it's interesting to see how that's working depending on which section of the industry you want to listen to. Fantasy Pros is not nearly as bullish. ESPN has already crowned him. Sleeper's not far away from crowning him. They've pretty much crowned him. And the public is sort of just in between that idea. So, Jason, what do you think about Jeremiah Love and his outlook for this year?
It's it's terrifying because everybody keeps comparing him to Genty last year, which is that the outcome? Maybe, but God, you're paying up. You're paying so much for something that we're not even sure of what it is. This offense is terrifying. We also don't know how long the quarterback is going to stay the same. Like it's everybody keeps talking about Beck coming in and how that's going to change the offense, and we don't know it. The whole thing is just so messy that the risk that is involved for something this expensive, again, I can't bring myself to want to even deal with it. I mean, of all the other players around him, I mean, there's not a whole lot that I love when it comes to running back, but the fact that he's above somebody like, I don't know, Josh Jacobs blows my mind.
Well, that's not a good example.
Well, yeah, because now he's dealing with
that
that's a whole other issue too.
Javante would be a better
Okay.
comp. Let's talk about Javante and not Jacobs because I don't want to have to derail into the suspension conversation.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's a whole other
frame
issue
it
too.
that
But
way.
it's again, you're talking about a player that you know is going to see all this work on an offense that's going to move, that has set roles, a set background. You know what it's going to look like this year. Again, it's just when you have a rookie coming in, you got, I would say, I was very happy with what Genty put out last year. But when it comes to
It
Love,
depends on what your expectations for that were. I
exactly.
swear. That's the biggest
So
thing I find with
if
that.
you're fine, assuming that he's going to be an RB2, great. This is a great spot for him for you. If he is your RB2,
let's do it this way. For the entirety of the season, Love or Hall?
Hall.
Love or Etienne?
Probably Etienne.
Love or Scadaboo?
That becomes Love just because of the workload. I know it is. The whole thing in New York scares me too. So
Yeah, well, I'm cheating.
I'm cheating.
Here's what I'll tell you is Love is going to be one of the most polarizing figures. I'll just give you my opinion. We'll do this next week on the mock draft show too, but I'll just give it to you briefly.
Whoa, they don't know about that yet.
Well, they're gonna
Yeah,
know
I
about
guess.
it. Now they do. So they're gonna here's what it is. I think it's 4 games for Brissett because I think they're gonna go 0-4. And I think at that point, here's how this works. I think at that point, the fan base and the pressure for something that isn't them losing every week. If they're going to lose, the fan base is going to demand it be with the rookies. So then Beck's going to come in, assuming he's healthy. At the beginning of this year, I don't even think they're going to start. I think it's going to be Algier
Yep.
is largely the lead back,
Okay.
and then slowly we'll be ceding time to Love as this goes. Do not listen to Nathaniel Hackett. Nathaniel Hackett, the current former Bronco employee and now offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, is a known troll. Do not listen to him. His words carry no value. They mean nothing. Because he has been on, this is part of what has been playing with people. I've seen this conversation a lot, where they're like, his OC keeps saying he looks like a rookie and he's got to earn his spot. And I'm like, that's because Nathaniel Hackett is playing you like a fiddle. Like, he doesn't believe any of those words that he says. He's just trolling. Like, it has nothing to do with anything he believes. Like, it's because that's not how football works. They're gonna want to see what they got and get him meaningful game reps in their brand new first round pick that is going to be the franchise running back if all goes well for the next like decade. You know that like that not decade, that's too long, but at least 5 years, and it could be as much as a decade depending on what the next contract looks like. So like they don't play these games typically. Whereas they're going to need to do a full evaluation on Beck because next year's draft class in general is projected to be loaded, but especially at quarterback. And Arizona's going to be bad. So they're going to have a really high pick, if not the one overall. They're in contention for that.
Yeah, they're actually
They're kind
projected
of
to
open.
be. They
They're
have the
open
lowest
tanking.
line of winning games this year.
Them and Miami are the two teams that are open tanking. The Jets also. There's three. So they are just open tanking to try and get the number one overall pick. But there's going to be probably 3 or 4 really highly valued quarterback prospects in this coming draft, assuming they all declare. Like Arch Manning, for example, is probably declaring at the end of this season. So there'll be there'll be an arms race to get that just because his name says Manning on the back of the jersey. So that's how that's going to work. Is it right? Doesn't matter. It's how it's going to go. So they need to figure out what they have in Beck, because if Beck is the answer, then maybe they can do something else. But this is the actual assignment for the Cardinals this year. They have to figure out what they have in Beck. They have to figure out what they have in Love and get him meaningful reps so he can gain experience. They also need to figure out how to get Marvin Harrison Jr. going, because that's a terrible black eye to the organization right now that he hasn't been playing to his potential given the hype and what they invested draft capital wise into him. They also need to figure out if what to do with him because he's only got next year and then the club option. So they're starting to run out of contract with Marvin Harrison before they have to make that decision. So this is not like, don't listen to Nathaniel Hackett with his troll comments about I'm going to start Algier and James Conner. He probably will for about 4 weeks until they lose all those games. And then ownership steps in and says, you are now playing the rookies, all of them. I don't want to see any of these veterans anymore. They can all go sit on the side. Now, that goes out the window, Jason, if they do actually win some games. Then this will continue. So to your point about not really knowing, I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen.
Yeah.
So that is the crux of it. And that's why there's this spread with Love where he's going ahead of his ranking basically no matter what, because kind of everything is. But it does come down to your individual level of risk tolerance with this. So, because for example, like I would rather Derrick Henry for what is a very similar price point, if possible. I would also rather Kyron Williams for a very similar price point. Uh, just because these are things that I have seen produce. These are individuals and people that I have seen produce, and there's not as much upside maybe, but the floor is also significantly higher.
I'm also going to
And
throw
they're being
Genty in there,
drafted later.
like just because
What
we
was
brought
that
him up
on?
earlier. Genty, like, but he's also
Oh
going.
yeah, yeah. Because Genty went from being a really high end second round pick to now he's in the third round too. So sure, yeah. Genty would be acceptable. That also comes down to your level of risk tolerance now too, though. By the way, which is kind of fun. Uh, the next one we wanted to discuss. Let's move on from that topic.
Okay.
The next one we wanted to discuss was Rashi Rice, which is another one that we seem to discuss. We seem to have this conversation
Every year.
Yeah, he's one of the most polarizing individuals. It's frustrating
Well,
actually.
I
This is
mean,
why I
it makes a
historically I have
little
very
more sense
little.
this year with Travis Kelsey being older.
I suppose,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
like
that's
I just this
again.
is why I don't have any Rice shares,
I
and I
know.
rarely ever do,
Definitely
because
not having any.
he's currently going at the his ADP. So the public has got him at 32 overall, which is interesting because on ESPN they've got him at 19 overall. Sleepers got him at 27, but by ranking, the Fantasy Pros ECR has him at 22 overall. So this is what's interesting is that I think, my opinion, just to get it out of the way, 19 is egregious. No, absolutely not. I am not spending a late second on
Nope.
Rice, a guy who just got arrested again
Again.
earlier this year, and has got real knucklehead problems. Like he just doesn't like. I don't know him personally, obviously, but like he just doesn't seem real bright. So like he's going at 32 overall because the public clearly understands like, there's so a little more risk with this. But this is gonna, my opinion on this is gonna vary wildly by your league, because in all the drafts I have actually done, he never hangs out till 32. So there's always someone that's willing to take him somewhere in the second round. Pretty much always. He pretty much always goes around 24, back end of the second, every time. There's always somebody in the league that seems to be willing to do this. And just I'll lay out for you here, Jason, but I will tell you, absolutely not for me.
Yeah. I
Pass.
feel like it's almost a Chiefs tax at this point. Like, of all the people that for the past 3 years,
Maybe.
it feels like it's just all these people are so expensive. Like I
Well,
am.
in this year, it actually kind of makes sense. It used to be that it was just everyone was expensive, no
Yeah.
matter who they were. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's localized to these two guys,
Yeah. And
and
it's
everyone else is
terrifying.
a deal. You want Xavier Worthy? It's
Free.
basically free.
Yeah.
You want Mahomes? 7 round discount on where he's been for the last 5 years this year because of the injury. So it's
Travis
not
Kelsey,
everybody on the
same
Chiefs.
thing. 7 round discount.
Yeah, that's age related. So like it's you can get discounts on Chiefs. So it's not the global Chiefs tax. But I agree. I think it might be the remnants of the Chiefs tax. It's just localized into these two people.
Yeah, because I'm like, again, if you're in the third round, having Rice as a potential wide receiver too, I'm great with that. Having him as a step up wide receiver, like your second wide receiver off the board because you have to if you want him, man, that's risky. Or even as your wide receiver one, assuming you potentially took a running back in the first round, I can't do it. It's just I get wanting him high, but that with all the other stuff he keeps doing, I don't know if it's worth it.
I'm gonna pass. Like I said,
Yeah,
there's so many other things that are available and players that are available in that range that don't come with the idea that I'm worried about them getting arrested every day, that I would just rather not involve myself in it. Uh, so let's move on. The next one is going to be Cam Scadaboo. So, like I said, I was cheating. Uh, so Scadaboo
rude.
is kind of an interesting one because he goes by ADP. So the public has him at is drafting him at about 45 overall. Uh, so what is that? It's a fourth round pick. So
Yeah, between 3 and 4.
no, because it'd be 12 team. It's 36 is the end of the third.
Yeah, so like
So he'd be fourth round.
okay, yeah.
Yes,
48
number
would be the
48.
next. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a late 4. Uh, on ESPN he goes at 40. On Sleeper he goes at 43. So not much to see there. Uh, the the interesting one though is that by ranking in PPR, his ECR is 58, and this to me is a function of what we were talking about earlier with the inflation. Inflation's not just happening at the grocery store and at the gas pump; it's happening here too. So this is inflation because this is the tax that is being applied to running backs and wide receivers this year. Uh, this one I'm actually okay with because look, knuckleheadness aside, backflips, questionable visits to buildings to meet with people, you know,
Being healthy.
beating your head off the wall while wearing a helmet. Like this is what I've said about Cam Scadaboo from the beginning. Enjoy it because he's going to be here for a good time, not a long time. And like last year, he blew out his ankle. That was a freak thing. I can't hold that against him. But the thing about this one is that I think he's going to end up with 80% of that backfield because Najee Harris is not proper competition, frankly. Sorry, but he's not. And yeah, the 28-year-old guy who's got 1,000,000 miles on his body, and Tyrone Tracy is his competition. That is not competition. And the
Singletary's still
only
there, right?
thing, who
Singletary?
for now, he'll cut down day, and then he'll have a new job at Pet Boys, the or Arby's. The 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 thing with this is that the reason why I think this is last year when everything was going terrible as it is wont to do. The only bright spots on that team were Wandale, Dart, and Scadaboo. And when Dart and Scadaboo were on the field together, it really looked like they were starting to figure something out in terms of this could actually be the beginnings of a real functional offense. And I think they know that. And I think their thing is kind of like the Cardinals. We got to figure out how to get these two guys to work good together, along with our buddy Malik Neighbors, who's now back. And that's the homework assignment, is to get that to gel. Because if you can get that to work, you have something. And so for Scadaboo, I actually am less freaked out about it than the Love thing, largely because it's a almost it's a full round discount minimum, almost 2, to take this kind of risk. And also, I got to see it with my own eyes last year. Those games when they were playing together, you got to really see like, okay, there's the nucleus of something that might be gelling. So it's that's why on this one specifically, it's like I hate to be this way, but candidly, this is just kind of what stuff costs. Jason, DeAndre Swift is still being drafted ahead of Cam Scadaboo. You know what I mean? But it's basically the same kind of neighborhood. It's just this is what I'm sorry, but this year the days of getting discount flex art level RBs, that's not happening. They're not. They're not. They're there, but the quality level is way lower because the market has kind of repriced and reevaluated everything, and this is what we're left with. It stinks that people are finally listening. It's a real shame. I liked it better when we just screamed into the void and we just got all the free stuff for ourselves.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely insane. I mean, like I said, the opportunity is definitely there. It's just getting used to the prices of things is just hurting me. I can't bring myself to want to pay for something that is a Cam Scadaboo that again could easily just explode because here for a good time, not a long time.
All the running backs in that range all have that risk. David Montgomery is right in that same range. Judkins is in that same range. Tootin is in that same range. We'll talk more about that on the draft show. Uh, uh, like that's just what this costs at this point. Jadarian Price is in the same range. We haven't seen Jadarian Price take one snap, and he's in the same range. So is Jalen Warren, by the way. Jalen Warren is cheaper than all of those guys I just rattled off, by the way.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna try to do that.
yeah,
Terrifying.
that sounds more like your advice. To be honest with you, is really I think we figured it out live on the show. Is that Jason's advice is pass on all of the pass on any RB past 19. So the RB 20 to 26, just skip it. And you want Warren at the RB 27, which is not really how to think about this, but
yeah, I know. But
that's Jason's actual takeaway here is you just skip all of the back end. Once you get past Swift, how do you feel about Swift?
I actually really like Swift. So
okay, so once you get past Swift,
stop.
Just skip everything until you get to like Warren at like just to take the next 7 names and throw them away. And I'm here to tell you, like, no, don't do that.
Definitely do that. Yes.
There's good stuff in there, but it all has risk. But that's just the way your draft is probably going to work this year. There's going to be a lot more. It depends on your league mates. But the days of I've got to get Lamar in the second. Yeah, that's not really happening right now, guys. That's not really how that goes. Like same thing with like all the people that are like, but Bowers, and I'm like, you can do that if you want, but
you're missing out.
I'd tell people go run a couple mock drafts and see how your team looks, and then go do some that don't have Bowers. You tell me how your team looks. You tell me which team you want to roster. And I've had a few people come back that are like, never mind, I don't want Bowers, and I'm like, okay. Because people are not just like Jason. People are not used to. I worked this out earlier in the summer because of the dynasty stuff I do. So it's I this year like the cliff is real and it gets there quick, and you do not want to be sitting there in the 10th round still trying to figure out running backs and wide receivers because it is too late. So that's and the problem is people are figuring that out, and that is pushing the prices up. So it's you just sometimes I get it, but unfortunately sometimes we just have to hold our nose and do things we don't want to do. So we've got 2 more, and then we've got a couple quick hitters. So let's try and nail these down real quick. So the next one on the list is our old friend and much maligned topic from last year, good old Bucky Irving. So Bucky is going to be one of the most polarizing figures in any draft that you're in. I assure you, it's going to be that way. So by ADP, he's going at 50, which fair enough, 50. So that's beginning of the 5th round is what that is. And on ESPN, he comes in at 49. On Sleeper, he comes in at 41. I can tell you all the drafts I've done on Sleeper so far this year, he's probably not going at 41. He probably gets passed over a little bit. But his actual ECR expert consensus ranking, and by the way, this is largely in line with my personal ranking, is 60. 60 overall. End of the 5th. Not beginning of the 5th. No. Bad. He's right in that range of names that Jason just told you to throw away. He's right in that. He's right in there. And I'm sorry, but this is going to be a no from me, dog. Even with the public's got this more right than ESPN and Sleeper do. This is one where I will say definitively, ignore ESPN, ignore Sleeper, and even largely ignore the ADP. I don't even want him at 60. Is how far out I'm out on this. Last year was a disaster, and they brought in Kenny Gainwell, which is like, no, I know I've heard the argument that like, well, that's just a Rashad White replacement. I don't believe you.
Yeah, did you see how well Gainwell was playing at the end of last year?
Like, I don't believe you. I just don't buy that at all. I'm not buying what you're selling, Sailor. It's not for me. It's gonna be no for me, dog. I'm hard out on Bucky Irving. Like, if that's with a price, then I will let that go. There are other names I like in that range so much more. I would much rather have Javante Williams than Bucky. I would much rather have Cam Scattaboo than Bucky. I will take Kinshawn Judkins over Bucky because at least I know he's going to get the volume. Will he die? Who's to say? But like he's going to get that volume. Like there's wide receivers that I'll take in this range. I'm hard pass on Bucky. Y'all have fun. Good luck. Like you enjoy that. Sean Tucker's still there, by the way, too. Notice that?
Yeah. Still hanging around.
Like, where are you at with Bucky, Jason?
I mean, yeah, it's like I told you to throw it away earlier, but of that group, I at least know he has a.
Is that the furthest throw it away of the throw it aways, or is that like less egregious?
It's less egregious, but God, again, talking about just price. We talked about Kenny Gainwell, who, again, at the end of last year, was tearing teams apart, not only through the air, but also just by running the ball on a horrible Steelers team. Like, I don't understand how they can.
No, the Steelers weren't that horrible. Their offense was horrible, but they were there's a reason they.
Does
were
he
like
play defense?
10-win team. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
10-win team. It's a 10-win team, Jason. It's a playoff team. They're not horrible. Like the Browns were horrible.
Okay. Yeah, but it's I don't see a world. I actually do think he is ranked correctly, but
ranked or being drafted? You mean ADP wide? Like wait. You mean the ECR ranking of 60?
No, the ECR ranking of RB21.
Which is 60 overall.
Yeah, that's still thing, that's overall it's high for me. I don't have him as 60 overall on my players,
getting
but
twisted into this like positional, and positional doesn't mean anything. Like it's overall is what matters. Like the positionals don't mean nearly as much as where you can, because the positionals open you up to this issue, which is RB21, take all the names off it. RB21 is going at 60 overall by ranking. And in reality, RB21 is going at 50 overall in actual drafts by ADP. That's what this data is saying.
Yeah, I can't do it, man. It's so expensive. I'm just so cheap.
I don't know how you're going to do drafts this year, man. I don't know how you're doing them. I don't know how you're getting around this because
I'm not even looking at these players. I'm just like, oh, that person's not there anymore. Okay, well, who do I have next? This is how I always draft. What are you talking about? I don't come in with a plan. I just roll.
Well, that's why I beat your ass up and down every year.
In Dynasty, yeah.
That's why.
In Dynasty, absolutely.
No, in redraft, bro. In redraft too. You've never beaten me.
We've never done redraft.
That's you've never beaten me. Like period. Like that's the whole reality of the situation is like categorically I am Kobe on you right now. The whole thing with this is we both agree it's leave Bucky on the table.
Yeah.
This is going to be interesting to do a mock draft with you next week. I am not sure how that's going to work. All right. So the last big topic of the show is I'm just going to call it Patriots backfield.
Perfect.
So it's the Patriots backfield is obviously once again it's going to be Travion Henderson and Ramondre Stevenson, the bad penny of fantasy football. He just will not go away. He just keeps coming back, and he's here to fumble his way into our hearts. It's just how it goes. So before I get into this, we're going to talk about this at length, I think, during the mock draft. But
when is price deal?
On it. Mike Vrabel came out last week, and they asked him a question. as they often do at training camp, about the running
Travion.
back room.
Travion
And
Henderson.
and he said, and normally how coaches just go, yeah, Travion's doing great. He's developing like a young player should. He's doing great, and they just move on. Okay, so Mike Vrabel didn't say that. What he said was, hey, Trevion's doing great, except, I really wish he could pass block like Ramondre. See, Ramondre's got these great hands and all this great pass blocking ability, and I really need Travion to figure out how to like shift and deal with that the way that Ramondre does. See, that's all horrible. Horrible. That is not good. That is very bad. And I always tell people don't listen to coach speak, and then usually that's correct. However, in this instance, this is where coach speak actually can tell you something. Because the fact that he went out of his way
To
to
bring up
praise
Ramondre.
Ramondre and throw Travion under the bus a little bit is telling. It's very telling. And so earlier in the offseason, Travion was going way higher in fantasy drafts. And after these little comments, and also some preseason action. Well, let's get into it. So Travion Henderson is still going earlier. He's going at that was rankings. There we go. So he is going at 63 overall by ADP. He goes at 68 on ESPN, which is, about right. And he goes at 53 on Sleeper. And I will say I've done a lot of drafts on Sleeper already, Jason, and that does seem to be a thing. Like, if you're drafting on Sleeper, expect for Henderson to go earlier than you probably expect.
Woof.
The interesting thing about that is that Henderson, by ranking, goes at 68 overall. So there's nothing really that shocking about any of that, other than him going a little too high on Sleeper. None of that's really that interesting, frankly. What is interesting is Ramondre is going at 75 overall by ADP, 71 on ESPN, 81 on Sleeper. So if you're playing on Sleeper, as I do a lot, I will tell you I have a lot of Ramondre shares on my Sleeper teams because it's too cheap. And before these comments, he was going even lower than that. And if you go by ranking, he goes at 74. He's ranked at 74. So to me, this is easy. I know it's not sexy, but give me Ramondre because it's cheaper. He's going to get the high value opportunities because he can pass block. He's going to get rewarded, as we saw last year, for his pass blocking with red zone opportunities. And he's going to get all the rushing work that he was going to get anyway. So Henderson's still going to have a good role. He's going to catch a lot of passes, and he's going to play a lot. But if you're going to roster Henderson, I'm going to tell you what you're going to be frustrated by every game you watch. On third down, he's going to be walking to the sideline, and here comes Ramondre. When they get into the red zone, here comes Ramondre. When they get into pressure situations that absolutely require pass blocking, hey, guess what? Here comes Ramondre.
2 minutes.
And yeah, and guess what? Ramondre is going to fumble a couple. And people are going to be like, brr, I can't believe he fumbled again. You got to put in Henderson. And Mike Vrabel is going to be like, how's it going to be when I don't care? Because that's literally how that's going to go. And that's how that's going to work. And so I'm telling you right now, I am out on Henderson. I have no Henderson shares and probably won't have any Henderson shares this year. I have loads of Ramondre shares. Because it's what have we spent this whole show talking about? Shit's expensive, yo.
For real.
But this ain't. So that's my opinion on it. So Jason, how do you evaluate the Patriots backfield? I'm curious.
I absolutely love Stevenson. So with this great value, all for it.
It's a shame because it was even better.
I know.
I liked it even better when I could get him 2 rounds later.
When I initially saw this and they were separated by like 30 spots, I was like, oh,
literally
yeah.
30 spots. I was like, oh yeah. And then Vrabel had to open his fat mouth and run it for everybody Come on, Mike.
Yeah, I was like, dude, this is going to be, he's going to be on every single one of my teams. It's not even going to be an issue. We'll be just cruising. But even at this, he's probably still going to be on every single one of my
He's on a
teams.
lot of my teams. I got to tell you, it's just wound up that way.
But
That
like,
is just how that has been working.
we've saw what Henderson can do, but again, he the thing that is going to set this team apart is that quarterback who is their moneymaker and now having AJ Brown.
Yeah.
So guess what? Stevenson's going to be out there a lot to block to make sure that they can get the ball to AJ Brown.
Yeah, and also to make sure Drake May doesn't get
Killed.
He can't be picking himself up off the floor.
Yeah.
So that's how it's gonna go. Like, and it's not this isn't some like indictment on Henderson. Like,
Not at all.
it's just he doesn't. This was the big knock on him coming out of college, and it was the big knock his entire rookie year, and it was expected his rookie year. But what's frustrating is clearly he has not made the necessary improvements in the eyes of his coach, who's really the person whose opinion matters in this instance, to merit additional playing time. And that sucks for his overall fantasy value. Because anyone that was blessed with the gift of sight could tell you who between those two players is better. But
Who's more
it don't
talented?
matter.
Yes.
It don't. Yeah, that's sorry. Better
Okay.
is not the right. Who is faster and better at catching, and in general generally
Explosive.
more talented. But Ramondre does the dirty work, and Travion doesn't, and he doesn't complain about it. And that's really what it boils down to. And that goes a long way if your coach is going to be Mike Vrabel. There's certain guys in the NFL. What's that? God, it's been too long. Who coaches the Lions? Why am I blanking on the man's name? I've seen like
kneecaps.
thousand times.
What?
Did I just break your brain? Too?
Yes, because all I can think of is
I picture him in my head. And I can hear his voice, but I can't remember.
I know he's built like a house.
Yeah, I know who he. I can picture him in my head.
Dan Campbell.
Thank you, Dan Campbell.
Like kneecaps.
Dan Campbell and Mike Vrabel are cut from the same cloth.
They look like
you got to
each
be
other.
a football. No, you got to be a football player. Rub some dirt on it. That's why Dan Campbell hated DeAndre Swift, because DeAndre didn't want to play hurt. Is the story? I don't know if this is true, but that's the story. Is that DeAndre claimed he was injured, and Vrabel was like, "No, you're not injured. You're just hurt. You need to play if you're hurt." And he's like, "No, I'm injured." And it's the death of their relationship right there. Which is why, up until recently, Dan Campbell loved, guess who? David Montgomery, until it just became not financially feasible to keep him anymore.
Yeah.
Because David Montgomery is that guy.
Hurt or not, he's going out there.
David Montgomery will play with all of his fingers broken. He doesn't care. Like, it's how it goes. So that's what those type of guys look for. Vrabel is very much old school football mentality in that same way. So those are the big topics for this show. We got a couple quick hitters that we're not going to spend a lot of time on, but I'm just going to rattle off a couple. So just be aware that depending on where you draft, one of the things I've noticed is Devonta Smith gets rated wildly differently. And I believe Devonta Smith, I believe in his ranking. His ranking in the ECR is 24 overall. And that is where I am comfortable with Devonta Smith. I think the rumors of Jalen Hurts' demise have been exaggerated. I think Mekhi Lemon is not ready for prime time. And we've been waiting for Smith to step up and try and take that A.J. Brown mantle, and this is his shot. So I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. And I think he should be being drafted at around. I'd be comfortable taking him as early as 24 overall, roughly in line with his ECR ranking. See, what's interesting about Smith is that's not how the good news for people that are interested in this conversation. That's not how that's going to work, because his ADP is 29 overall, but his ranking on both, but his ADP on ESPN and Sleeper specifically is 36. And I see this consistently, having drafted on both platforms. He goes at around 36. So guess how many Devonta Smith shares I have?
All of them.
Many. Like, not all of them, but many. And it's because from where I'm sitting, you're going to get a five.
Wide receiver one.
It's a 5-pick discount at minimum, but based on my rankings, it's a round discount. It is a full round discount to have Devonta Smith on your team. And if you're playing on Sleeper or on ESPN, yeah, like I'm interested. So especially if I can get him at like the 36, 37 that he goes at, oh man, I'm gonna be slamming that button. I'm gonna be slamming that button until I break my keyboard. Jason, how do you feel about Devonta Smith, real quick?
I said previously he's a wide receiver one. I currently have him extremely high, probably too high because that's what I like to do with people that I believe in. And so, with all the opportunity there, I just don't see a way that he is even a, like wide receiver 12. Like I don't see how he does worse than that without getting hurt.
I can tell you how. It's I'm wrong, and the death of Jalen Hurts is real.
Aww.
And then that would cap his upside and put him in the upper wide receiver 2.
Everything I've seen is
echelon.
really just
Like,
not agreeing with that though.
yeah,
all the
that's what I'm
video
saying.
I've watched and everything else.
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just
Okay.
saying that's the mechanism by where it would happen. That's all. Like, so Devonta Smith is a pretty interesting value, especially if you draft on ESPN and Sleeper. The next one that I've noticed is Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is another one where he goes at 45 overall by ADP. So that's what the public's opinion is. That's roughly in line with what Sleeper has at 45. But on ESPN, he goes at 32. By ranking, I have Garrett Wilson at 29. I would like to know when Garrett Wilson died. When did his knee get ripped off of his body, Jason? Did you see anything about that? When did that happen? Because that hasn't happened, as far as I can tell. Like, yeah, Geno Smith is quarterback, and that sucks, and it's not great. But
what I have to do is get to the ball to him.
Did Garrett Wilson just suddenly forget how to play football? When has Garrett Wilson ever had good quarterback play? Let's play that game.
Yeah, never. And he's gone through 9 quarterbacks.
9 quarterbacks, and he's been a consistent wide receiver too.
Yeah.
So when did he die exactly? So I have a lot of Garrett Wilson. I'll tell you who I have a lot of. I have a lot of Devonta Smith. I have a lot of Garrett Wilson, and I have a lot of Zay Flowers.
Me too.
Those are the ones that people seem to be sleeping on this year, and I'm like, I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take that. Like, that's because those are the 3 names, and they're not sexy. It's not sexy. I acknowledge it. It's not sexy, but that is a workman's wide receiver core right there. Okay, that's 2 wide receivers and a high-end flex. If those are your 3 guys, and I'm telling you right now, all 3 of those guys are values in drafts this year. All 3 of them. Their ADP is all going lower than their ranking. All 3 of them, and especially if you play on Sleeper. Especially those 3 guys on Sleeper. They're all being rated. They're all being unfairly downgraded, if you ask me. Sounds like, Jason, you're on the same page with me on that one.
Again, I love all 3. I brought my love for Flowers last year, so I'm just hoping it actually hits this year because opportunities there.
Year. He had, what did he have last year? 1,200 yards?
Yeah, I mean he's not a bad player, but they need to throw the ball to him more.
No, I think 1,200 yards is about his ceiling, but I think he can hit that ceiling fairly repeatedly. That's why I've got him back in this neighborhood. The last 2, real quick. There is a massive discrepancy on Josh Downs depending on where you look. So this is probably one of the most polarizing players in fantasy this year. Downs goes, oops, would help if I could spell. Downs goes at 102 by ADP, which is the wide receiver 41, which that feels low to me.
Yeah.
Like, but what's even more interesting is he goes at 107 on Sleeper, which is not that. It's only 5 picks. I'm not going to oh God, 5 picks. No, but on ESPN, he's at 130.
Free.
So if you play on ESPN, you can just have Josh Downs at the end of your draft, a wide receiver 2 at the end of your draft. Have fun, kids. So I don't know what happened with. I guess somewhere in the rift at ESPN recently, they just fired all the people that were paying attention because that doesn't make no sense. So that's what I mean by like that's not a small discrepancy. That's 30 spots between Sleeper and ESPN. What's even more interesting than that though is that in PPR, what do you suppose, Jason, Josh Downs' actual ECR ranking is? Expert consensus ranking. Full PPR. What is it?
For okay,
Don't look.
not doing based on individual, not by position, just overall.
Just overall.
75.
Say that again.
75.
86. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So 86. He's the wide receiver 39. That would translate to 86 overall, which seems high, but in reality is like an 8th round pick.
Yeah.
That's where he goes in the ECR. So what I'm telling you is that
Deal.
even on Sleeper, you're getting a 20 pick discount on its face. And on ESPN, it is literally a 50 pick discount. 50. 50.
Insane.
This does not happen, kids. I've been doing this for way too long. I've been doing this since 2005. I just made myself feel very old. Thank you for that. This does not occur. This is not a thing where there's a wide receiver 2 with a 50 pick discrepancy. I literally don't have other examples. I spent 30 minutes trying to come up with other examples before we started this show. I don't have any. You have any idea how hard that is to find something that I'm like, I genuinely don't think I've ever seen that before? Well, here we did. We did it. We found it. Because that is insane. So I got a lot of Josh Downs, Jason, as I'm sure you can imagine, because it's just free and you can just have it. What do you think about Josh Downs this year? Are you scared of the possibility that he might have to play outside and then?
Yeah, I'm also nervous. It's just he's already dealing with a calf. Like that's always it drives me insane with him. He always has something, and then he's just a little guy.
He is little.
But on the other side of that, they also have Mr. Glass over there in Alec Pierce, who is our
and Keenan Allen, who is also
not
the pinnacle of health and
but
old.
He's also led the Chargers team last year in receptions. So
let's see him do it 2 years in a row with that body. I'll be interested to see if he could do it again.
Hey, he's thick now.
I think in reality it's more. I think that actually says more. It's more of a thing on Pierce.
Yeah.
Because I know they were actually kicking around signing Debo.
But that would also really hurt Downs, unfortunately.
It could. It doesn't. It depends. It depends on what they do, because it depends on how they scheme it. Because what could really hurt Downs, and this is why there's some uncertainty, is at the beginning of the year he's probably going to be playing outside and inside. But if he struggles on the outside, he's already going to end up ceding that work back to Pierce when he comes back. So I think at the beginning of the year, you're going to have Allen and Downs in 2 wide receiver sets. And then when Pierce is healthy, it's going to be a question. So if Downs can establish something early on the outside, I think he could probably hold off Keenan Allen. But if he can't, he's going to get relegated to the slot, which will hurt him not only for redraft purposes for the remainder of this year, but it will also severely impact the trajectory of the remainder of his career. Because right now, we're in the last. This is a critical evaluation window for Josh Downs from a dynasty perspective, where we look at things like this. So Downs is getting one last opportunity to try to play outside. If he can make it work, his future goes like this. Even if it's not Colts, no Colts, doesn't matter. His future goes like this. if he can't play outside, you're 25. You're a slot only. You're Jalen. Uh you're Jamison Crowder.
Oh man.
Bye bye. That's your life. That's how this works. That is how the NFL thinks. That is how they evaluate talent. They are not going to spend a whole lot of time beyond this year really worrying because this is the last year of Downs' contract with the Colts. So this is a huge deal for him. He needs to go out. He needs to, if he can establish that he can play on the outside for real and they're comfortable with that and he can prove he can do it, he will have a lot of options, including staying with the Colts, going to another team to try and be their wide receiver too. But if he's slot only, his career options get much worse. Because what team runs enough 3 wide at this point that they could justify it? The Bills? But Cole Beasley, that was a long time ago, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Now you're running Kincaid and
yeah,
Knox.
so like what team does that anymore? There aren't many. Most of them run 12 personnel, to your point. So this is like Downs is literally at the crossroads. And that's why there's this discrepancy exists because he was a 3rd-round pick coming into the league. He doesn't have a lot of draft capital. There's no like club option or anything for that. So if they're going to pay him, they have to pay him. But his issue is going to be if he can't play outside and he's slot only, you're starting to look a lot like Jamison Crowder, bro. Like we all know how that movie ends. Like the NFL just does not value these guys that can only play in the slot. And that's what's so frustrating is if you go by like PFF metrics to the extent that people care about that, like his separator score inside as a slot guy is top 15 in the NFL. His win rate on the inside, top 20 in the NFL. He's genuinely fast laterally and he's really good at cutting. And there's no interior defender really that can cover him consistently. There's no linebacker that can do it. There's a few nickel corners that can hang with him, but not consistently. He's too fast, he's too quick laterally, and it doesn't really matter that he's small on the inside. The real question is going to be this year, can he win as a flanker on the outside? And so far in his career, his metrics when they put him outside, crater. So that's the nerve. That's the nerves for Downs. But I will say, you know how in Chinese the word for crisis and opportunity is the same word, right? That's what this is. That's exactly what this is. I'm not suggesting you have to take him at 80. What I'm suggesting is, given the inflated price points of everything this year,
He's free.
that's not insane. And if I could get him at 100 or 110 overall, smash, 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 smash every time. I don't care because at that point, Jason, if I'm right or wrong, it actually doesn't matter. I know that's weird to people because they're like, well, of course it matters because it's the difference between winning and losing. It actually, you're just looking. That's just looking at results. I'm looking at process. We should always be looking to take swings on players like this that present this level of upside. And then the last one, Jason, is have you noticed that Jalen Waddle is just flying up boards? Just ever since they put the pads on and started doing actual drills and joint practices and preseason,
It's just how it
Jalen
works, man.
Waddle's ADP has just been flying straight up.
It's like he is good.
Maybe. He's a walking soft tissue injury.
Well,
But yeah, he's pretty good. My question to you is what's your outlook for Waddle this year?
dude, I have him as the wide receiver 1 on his team, but
Okay. That's not a hot take.
I know, but it okay, let me see where I actually have him. I have him as wide receiver 17 right behind AJ Brown.
Oh wow. Why are you so low on AJ Brown?
I'm still just iffy on that offense. I
Yeah,
mean,
you weren't expecting me to flip the question on its head. See, I caught him off guard. Got him all with his pants down. Wasn't prepared for it. Uh, so for Waddle, like, what's your actual projection for Waddle?
I have him at 245 points.
Yeah,
So,
that's fine. But how are you arriving at that?
okay.
Is my question.
All right, let me pull up Denver real quick. With a 20% target share, 129 targets, 86 receptions, 1,100 yards, 6
Oh,
touchdowns.
86 receptions is probably what that is more than anything. How many touchdowns?
6.
6? Yeah, 6 sounds right. About what I have.
Okay.
Uh, I think it's more like 75 receptions, maybe 80, but like I got him more in that neighborhood. Right about 1,000 yards is kind of what I got him at.
Yeah, I have him a little higher than that.
Uh, yeah, that's totally fine. I'm not even like this is just something I noticed because by ADP he goes at 41. On Sleeper he goes at 46. On ESPN he goes at 52. So you are getting a little bit of a discount potentially if you play on ESPN. But by ranking in the ECR, he is 35 overall. So I brought all this up to say that like the experts are ready to crown Waddle. They're ready to crown him, and
Not quite there yet.
I actually don't necessarily hate it.
Yeah.
It's not the worst take I've ever seen. So, and especially given his price point, I'm okay with this. Especially at 50. I'm way in at 50.
I know, but he's so much cheaper.
That's
Before the
ESPN.
pads.
Yeah. Oh, he was. Oh God. Yeah. He was a. He's moved up. The reason I put him on here is he's moved up like 2 full rounds.
Yeah.
In like 2 weeks, he's moved. It's a Stephon Diggs level of ascension. Well, that's not Diggs. Stephon Diggs level of ascension is like this. Like, we'll get into that next week. So, Jason, do you have any other topics for today? Because that was everything that we had prepared.
Okay, the only other thing is with everybody finally realizing it, it actually has made some quarterbacks really inexpensive. When you're looking at this market, quarterbacks are free. If you want a quarterback one, wait.
Yeah,
Like
that's it. I couldn't have said it better myself.
just because you keep bringing up all these players, and I literally, not even necessarily, one of our insiders asked, and I was like, oh, what quarterbacks would I like? Well, let me see here. Who's after pick 100? Oh, Patrick Mahomes?
Bunch of people.
What?
Ton of people. Ton of people.
Brock Purdy?
Mahomes, Bo Nix, Brock Purdy.
Like, it's mind-blowing that we're at that point.
The line. Dart straddles the line.
But these are things that I'm...
It's not to me. The only thing that's mind-blowing about it to me is... the only thing that's mind-blowing to me about it is the hilarity that is, I've been saying this my whole career. And now it's finally happening. And I've never been more annoyed.
Of all the times you pick now.
Well, you finally start listening 10 years in. And what I'm realizing is that, like, I liked it better when nobody listened. Because now I don't get free things anymore. I don't get deep discounts the way that I used to. People aren't wasting their picks on high-priced quarterbacks and tight ends. But also, that's because, Jason, in reality, I genuinely believe this. The pool is so much shallower this year than in other years. There's just the cliff at wide receiver ending at 45 is like,
yeah,
I'm used to it being a little deeper than that. And the running back cliff, we say 40, but in reality, it starts getting ugly at 30. 40 is when you just hit the floor, like you hit the floor of the Grand Canyon. But I'm right there with you, man. Wait on QB is the answer this year. You can get Justin Herbert for pennies on the dollar. There is no point to spending up, in my opinion, to get any of the big names. I don't need Allen. I don't need Lamar. I think May is criminally overvalued. Candidly, I think that's insane. Uh, Burrow, great when he's healthy. Is the O line going to be able to keep him healthy? I don't really want to invest in that for a fourth or fifth round pick. Jaden Daniels, exact same problem. Jalen Hurts, okay, I'm a little more be willing to do that because I'm getting a discount on that because people hate him. Caleb is sort of interesting, but people want to pay full retail sticker for Caleb. Gross. I don't want to do that. When I can get literal Justin Herbert, which I have them projected for pretty similar seasons this year, 3 rounds later, 4. And if I want to keep waiting, I can get Dak way later than that. Trevor Lawrence way later than that.
Matthew
I got
Stafford.
Brock Purdy. I was telling you before we started. I got Brock Purdy in like the 12th round of a league I'm in right now. Yeah. Knicks, Dart, Mahomes, Stafford, Goff are all things that, and then Murray, if you want to live a little more dangerously.
Mayfield.
And it's just a shame. I'm not as no, I'm probably avoiding that. Mayfield and Love, I'm willing to be wrong. Y'all can have that. But I don't need to wait that long at this point. You know what I mean? Because I can get better things than that for what those things used to cost. So that's the other side of this equation. There's also some pretty decent values later at tight end.
Yep. Same thing. It's like the onesie positions are front of there. Love it.
Yeah. Likely is a good deal. Andrews is a good deal.
Barner.
Barner costs nothing. I have a lot of Barner. I was explaining this actually while I was at a friend's house watching playoff games for like a party when he caught that touchdown, and I was like, you should remember who that guy is because he doesn't mean anything right now, but I have a sneaking suspicion that guy could actually be somebody someday. But there's a lot of them like that. Brenton Strange, I don't hate. Chigakonkwo if I had to.
Gunnar Helm.
Juwan Johnson's not dead yet until Oscar Delp takes him out back behind the barn halfway through the year because I think that might be happening.
Yeah.
That Delp kid looks like he might be able to ball. We're going to find out.
He's a freak.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. So there's, there's
things.
There's stuff. Tucker Kraft is going cheaper than he should be because he's probably going to get 10 to 12 targets a game minimum until his leg is removed from his body at some point. That's probably going to happen if they give him that kind of volume, but that's what they're going to do. So there's a lot of tight end values as well. Kittle is criminally undervalued. So and Goddard is another good one. So there's like lots of good value at quarterback and tight end this year. I hate it, Jason. I hate it.
Just not right.
Hate this. People making me pay sticker for running backs and wide receivers and leaving tight ends and quarterbacks. Normally, this is how I draft. This is my strategy. It's our time down here.
Yeah. This is where we win.
Yeah.
Now we actually have to play people. Dang it.
Now I actually have to deal with people that actually are using my own strategy against me. It's infuriating. Where were you 10 years ago? When I was literally begging people to listen to this. So, anyway.
Now everybody is. That's fine.
Take us home, sunshine.
All right.
Oh, tell them about next week's show. And then take us home.
Yeah. So, next week we'll be doing a mock draft. It'll be Neil and I. We will just have comments throughout the show. We'll do all the fun stuff. No surprise, but go and run with Sleeper because I think that's the fairest thing to do.
It's just easy. Let's just be honest. It's the easiest one.
Yeah.
And it's the best one. It's the best one, and it's the easiest one, and that's what we're doing.
And most people should be using it at this point, which I've been saying for years now. But we'll be going through all that next week. Really hope you guys kind of get ready ahead of, and help us as well because we definitely need it. Or if you haven't told, we're a little rusty. That's okay. But just part of it.
I'm not rusty at all. I've been doing this for months. I've been doing Dynasty. What are you talking about?
I meant being in front of the camera ish. Behind
yeah.
Talking.
Yeah.
Like this. That's what I mean with rust. But knocking some of that off and really helping you guys hopefully win a lot of leagues this year because it seems to have gotten a little tougher for us, which I don't love. But just is what it is. So we'll be doing that. Have all the fun stuff. Again, we've opened up the Discord. Make sure you try and become an insider. Allows a little bit of additional fun to happen. Get more direct lines, and you'll definitely be seeing a change in how we do things. So, that in mind, we're going to get out of here. You have any parting words of wisdom, Neil? Anything I
As
missed?
always, keep up the nonsense, baby. The first time in 2026.
Yeah, for sure. So, with that, remember as always to keep up the nonsense. We will see you all next week.